What's up, my beautiful people? It's your boy Dixon. Today I want to react to Trump deports thousands of migrants to Africa on purpose. Let's get to it.
CBS News has learned the Trump administration is negotiating with the East African country of Rwanda to house illegal migrants deported out of the United States.
So America's war on illegal immigration is escalating, and those caught in the country illegally could now be deported somewhere other than where they came from if they don't leave on their own. However, judges and activists are fighting back, recently blocking deportation flights to countries in Africa like Libya, which are some of the only countries on earth willing to accept deportees who came from countries like Venezuela, which for some reason don't want their own citizens coming back. Which is why the president is now offering people $1,000 if they decide to permanently leave the United States on their own.
We got one running across, northbound, northbound.
A man ran from the Florida Highway Patrol after being pulled over for a traffic violation. When his legal status was questioned, he took off.
Come on out, get out here right now. I see your hands, come on out.
Today I signed an executive order to launch the first ever self-deportation program for illegal aliens. We are making it as easy as possible for illegal aliens to leave America. Any illegal alien can simply show up at an airport and receive a free flight out of our country.
If you come to the U.S. illegally or stay here unlawfully, not only can you face deportation to your home country, of course, but now you can face deportation to a country across the Atlantic that is in deep political crisis, like the African country of Libya.
The idea is simple. Pay migrants to leave instead of paying more to deport them. Arresting, detaining, and removing just one migrant can cost over $17,000. Under this new program, those who self-deport will get a stipend of up to $1,000.
So to all illegal aliens, book your free flight right now. We want you out of America, but if you're really good, we're going to try and help you get back in.
Rwanda and Liberia could soon house deported.
So apparently, those illegally in America could be deported almost anywhere if their home countries don't want them back. But what nobody's talking about is this right here reveals a major problem with the whole asylum crisis that we were told was going to be a great thing for America. But now serious doubt is being cast on that idea if some of the people who are in the United States are not allowed to return to the countries they started out from. Could it be that places like Venezuela know and possibly orchestrated the movement of criminal groups like Tren de Aragua from prisons in their home country to sanctuary cities like New York? Or could it be that in many cases, those willing to travel thousands of miles and pay smugglers to illegally enter our country may not have been upstanding citizens to begin with? Well, as you're about to see, the answers to those questions are not exactly confidence-inspiring, but there's another problem. Over the last 4 years, the U.S. has seen record levels of illegal immigration, and although ICE agents are making great progress capturing dangerous individuals, like terror watch list suspects, gang members, and those with heinous criminal records, the U.S. doesn't have the resources to lock everyone up domestically, which is why deportation flights are so important and weren't controversial at all until recently. Which brings us to the real reason why there's now so much pushback against what used to be a normal part of immigration enforcement in this country. If the open borders crowd can stop these flights, it will force the Trump administration to house every single person they arrest right here, greatly increasing the cost of enforcing our borders in a way no president was ever challenged with before, including President Obama, who deported millions without so much as a peep from activists who badly want dangerous criminals to stay in our country forever, like this guy.
Get out here right now. I see your hands, come on out.
He was caught hiding in a nearby neighborhood shed. He was previously convicted for unlawful possession of a firearm and assaulting an officer, according to Border Patrol.
Why on earth should America be obligated to house that individual or folks like him indefinitely when he's already in the country without permission and is here committing crimes? That's the question normal people are asking, while these activist judges and politicians do everything they can to stop anyone from getting deported. And as you're about to see, they're even willing to go to jail because they think it makes them martyrs for some humanitarian cause that doesn't actually exist. exist since those they're defending are gang members. And once you understand how radical these people are, it will make sense why Donald Trump's plans really shouldn't be that controversial at all. In fact, they make a lot of sense.
Newark's Mayor Russ Brock had taken into custody around 3 o'clock. He was on a tour of Delaney Hall with 3 other members of New Jersey's congressional delegation. Federal officials blocked his entry. We're told that an argument erupted, and Baraka attempted to enter through some sort of side gate. Those on scene say federal agents threw organizers to the ground. You can see him there. He's circled, trying to get through that gate and confronting a...
So before we get into President Trump's plan to send people to countries like Rwanda, it's important to understand something. The people who claim that these deportations are inhumane and wrong don't actually understand what they're advocating against. Because it's recently been exposed that this ICE detention facility that these politicians protested at is nicer than the prisons most Americans get held in. And it's also come out that every single person detained by immigration authorities is eligible to self-deport and then receive $1,000 from America for doing so to help them leave the country. And as you're about to see, there are places lined up for people in jail in America that are nicer than where a lot of Americans live.
These accommodations in Rwanda's capital, Kigali, have stood empty for months, but the government hopes that won't last much longer. After reports last week suggested Rwanda was open to taking in U.S. deported migrants, the foreign minister confirmed Monday that talks with Washington have begun.
Hold on, back up a bit. Look at this place. This is a nice place. Look at it. It says right here, an entertainer's dream, 2 bedrooms, bath and a half, and there's a parking spot. And it's several floors. Look at that. And it's got a terrace. And you can get paid $1,000 right now to get on a plane and go live there. Look at this. Under a previous deal that almost went through with the United Kingdom, Rwanda said that they would house migrants for up to 5 years, and that people who wanted to leave on their own could have their paperwork processed in a few months and just leave. Now, a full deal hasn't been worked out with the U.S. yet, but this doesn't sound like a prison situation either.
We are working with other countries to say, we want to send you some of the most despicable human beings to your country.
What a deal with Rwanda might look like remains unclear. Media reports suggest the U.S. wants to pay the country to accept migrants and fund a program to help them integrate into Rwandan society. But Rwanda has faced criticism for human rights abuses. The UN warns that migrants sent there could be deported again to countries where their safety isn't guaranteed.
So if Rwanda's being paid to accept people and they're going to be putting them in apartments that look like this, that doesn't sound like an inhumane situation. In fact, it sounds like a situation that might be better for these people than the reality that they're facing if they are from a country that says you can't come back if you've left. And what's crazy is you've got activists who are out there right now storming ICE facilities in the name of humanity when what they want is for people to be stuck in America. They don't want people to be deported to a country like Rwanda where they'll have their freedom. They want them to stay here as prisoners in some facility. But I guess to them, being in jail in America is better than being free anywhere else in the world. That's just so bizarre. But what's not bizarre is the fact that it costs so much money to house people and detain them here in America that anything the country spends to help folks voluntarily leave on their own is a win for everybody, including the people who take these deals.
The idea is simple. Pay migrants to leave instead of paying more to deport them. Now, according to the Department of Homeland Security, arresting, detaining, and removing just one migrant can cost over $17,000. Under this new program, those who self-deport through the CBP Home app will get a stipend of up to $1,000 once they get to their country. However, some say the...
Okay, so if it costs $17,000 to house somebody in America and they don't have their freedom, them leaving and getting paid and having agency somewhere else is just so much better. Now they can take care of themselves. They don't have to live in a jail anymore. And in many cases, you've got people who illegally came to America and owe debts to cartels and smugglers. Well, this exit bonus that people are getting could be used to help them pay off whatever remaining debt they have so that they don't have to live in fear in their home countries because they were snuck into America and never paid back the bad guys. But even if that's not the case, this totally demolishes the excuse that activists activists put forward that once people are here in America, they've got no hope, nowhere to return to, and nothing to go back to. If you give somebody $1,000, that's going to help them get set up pretty quick. And as we've recently discovered, this protest at this ICE facility exposed the humanity of the entire operation, because inside that jail there are signs all over the place that tell people how they can take advantage of this free flight while they're in detention. Anybody can leave these detention facilities whenever they want. And what that means is, as ICE and other states take immigration enforcement seriously, there will be more people who are in a position to accept such an opportunity.
For the first time, Florida troopers have the ability to question a person's immigration status on the side of the road. That wasn't always the case.
Every day, Florida Highway Patrol troopers would interact with people that were most likely here unlawfully, and there was nothing that we could do as state law enforcement officers.
Now, FHP is the only state agency in the nation trained and acting in partnership with federal immigration agents under what is known as the 287G agreement. And Fox News is the first to see it in action.
So here's the twist that immigration enforcement has taken in America. You've got local jurisdictions like Florida right here that are ramping up their own efforts to get people who police are already interacting with in the context of criminal activity to just voluntarily deport themselves. These folks are being taken into custody, and they don't have to put up with that. However, they can just take a free flight and take $1,000 and leave on their own. And to be honest with you, the only people who aren't going to do that are going to be criminals or gang members who prefer a prison cell to freedom somewhere else. It really doesn't make sense that anybody wouldn't take such an offer. But one thing's for sure, as certain states decide to do more to help get criminals off of their streets, there are other cities like New York who are doing the opposite. And what we're going to see over the next few months is that in sanctuary cities in particular, as they resist immigration enforcement efforts, criminals will be drawn to these locations, and things here are just going to get worse.
This video from Friday night in New York's Times Square going viral. 5 suspects have since been arrested, all linked to the Venezuelan gang Tren de Aragua.
It's terrible.
This is not low-level crime.
It's not low-level crime. We've got a massive gang problem going on right here in New York. And here's the thing. This is the opposite of what's taking place in Florida. In Florida, these folks could be arrested and immediately immigration-related enforcement could take place. But here, since we ban our police from having anything to do with immigration enforcement, it actually just helps gang members escape justice. And the people running New York are so proud of their counterparts who just stormed an ICE facility in New Jersey. These folks actually think they're sticking up for humanity and that they're making the world a better place, advocating for criminals and gang members to get let off the hook. That's what they really want. What they really want is for that ICE facility to just open up its doors and just let everyone out, because as you're about to see, our activist leaders, they don't think any of these folks have done anything wrong.
It's organized violence carried out by gang members that we've already taken off the streets for preying on New Yorkers. And now they're back, ambushing cops in the middle of Times Square.
Just outside of Nashville this past weekend, Tennessee Highway Patrol officers worked with ICE to conduct traffic stops, resulting in more than 80 arrests, including an alleged Tren de Aragua member.
Okay, so when these activists come out and they say that somebody who's a violent gang member who was caught committing a crime is not a criminal, that's because they truly believe that all of what we're seeing is wrong and there's something else going on. They don't believe that Tennessee Highway Patrol legitimately encountered dangerous individuals while they were just out there doing their jobs. They're making their community so much safer. These activists have no idea how much better off things are going to be for everybody now that these criminals who aren't here seeking the American dream are off the streets.
Before the sun was even up, troopers had a total of 30 people in custody.
That's just here on a small stretch of highway in Hillsborough County, Tampa, Florida.
Although the operation could have lasted much longer, FHP said it was over within an hour because they were at capacity. They didn't have any more room to hold undocumented migrants. So, guys, this begs the question about detention space not only here in Florida, but nationwide.
So this brings up a very important point, and this is how the activists and the open borders crowd think they can win. They think that if they can stop people from being detained and fill up all the detention bed space we have, that ICE And the president will have no choice but to stop going out and arresting people, which is why they want to block these deportation flights. They're so upset that people could have to leave the country and that ICE could continue doing its job. And this is the part of our story where the real issue here comes into play in a way that nobody's talking about. Here we have an article from 2018 from Yale that finds twice as many people living in the country illegally as previous estimates. Using mathematical modeling on a range of demographic and immigration operations, researchers estimate 22.1 million undocumented immigrants in the United States, double the 11.3 million that were estimated, and this is back in 2018 before we even had an asylum crisis. And what that reveals is we don't actually know how many people are in the country and aren't supposed to be here. We have guesses, we have ideas, but they're always low. What do you think about that? How many people might there actually be in the country that we don't know about? Is President Trump doing the right thing? Is it a good idea to pay people to leave the United States when it might cost more money to keep them here while taking away all of their freedom when they could have a better life somewhere else? Let me know. Thank you so much for watching. See you in the next video.
Yeah, thank you guys for watching. But according to me, I feel like Trump is doing the best thing. He's trying to save the country from illegal migration, and is giving people is giving people options, the migrant options. Man, you're gonna take this, go home. One day you're gonna come back. We will accept you. If you feel that Trump is doing the right thing, let's see in the comments. Remember to share, subscribe. See you in the next video.